Hello and welcome to SOUQ PULSE. It's always a delight and our joy being here and knowing fully well that you are on that other side, being a part of this particular program, being a part of the conversation, making sure that at the end of the day, we go home fully satisfied that our message is being heard and carried beyond this particular studio. You know how it is. On SOUQ PULSE, we just open up, sit back and talk about matters that not just about us, or Africa, or Asia, or Europe, but we tell ourselves some basic things. True, call it what it is. True, call it what you think it is. But we ask questions. Those particular monies coming from those donor agencies, multilateral organizations, how are they getting to the end user? How are they putting food on the table? How are they taking food off the table? Businesses, be it small, big, large, conglomerate, how are they faring? Countries that are supposed to do well, after a period of time, what is happening? We'll just keep asking these questions and we'll get to talk about it. We say, is Africa doing better? Policies from Asia, are we emulating? Are we copying? Are they just going? Are we part of the race in the first place? A whole lot of issues, and we just drop our hands and feel the pulse. My name is Chuks, John-Rogers Chuks. I am not alone. Today promises to be a very good day. I tell you, it's Monday, beginning of the week, one of those first complete weeks of March, and it's going to be good. When we return, we'll get to talk about what we are going to talk about, introduce the topic, and you will be shocked at the amount of guests I have on the show. Don't go anywhere. SOUQ PULSE will be right back.
My name is Yinka Babalola.
My name is Ijoma Pelokoro.
My name is Joshua Hassan.
I am Rotarian or Mosunde Lawson.
It's Ife Yunwarita Ejeze. My friends call me Ife.
My name is Rotarian Lola Dare.
I'm inviting you to keep watching SOUQ News. It's the right station to tune to.
I like SOUQ News. SOUQ News is good.
I want to charge you all to listen to SOUQ News, watch the news.
You can have unlimited news first time.
Find SOUQ News. Be with SOUQ News. Never switch off. You are better for it. SOUQ News is the real thing.
Listen to their coverage and you'll be glad you did.
Turn to your YouTube, turn to your Instagram, turn to all your digital channels and look for SOUQ News.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Please, guys, keep watching
SOUQ News.
Yes, welcome back. It's still SOUQ PULSE. So today we are looking at information. Yes, you heard me right. Information. Let's break it down a bit. Information, disinformation, misinformation, malinformation. Somebody will say fake news. Okay, good. Now we are looking at this and asking straight questions. How can we filter? We've gone far from the days when your major broadcast or where you got your news from was either the TV, that everybody has to sit at a particular point in time. You wait for the code bar, the color bar comes on. By night, the color bar goes off and you got information from one source. Or a radio, a grandpa having it, or newspapers. Now the world is evolving and evolving very fast. News is not just at your fingertips, whether you like it or not, it's filtering through. Now, how can we know which is which? When do you know when you're being controlled or when you're being pushed? When do you know when you are dancing to a tune you don't even know who is playing? In the studio today, we have the Director, Center for Public Policy. You know him very well. He's been a regular here, and we are always glad he has not left the shores yet. Mr. Sam, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
Pleasure, Chuks.
Yes. I like that, my pleasure. Can you say it like one more time?
My pleasure to be here.
Yeah, now you're talking. You're welcome, sir. Then I also have someone you are going to be seeing for the first time, but his face is going to be stuck with you. He is a media professional, a personality, and we've grabbed him, and he's here. Mr. Ikenna Mba, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chuks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. I am not having you. You are part of the show. Yes. So, like I said, we are looking at information. There is something most people don't understand. When we say news, news deals with nothing but the truth. Originally, news is truth. information that is true that is being passed across, either for you to take action, know, or work on. Then you now have to ask yourself, what are the major things? You now start asking for yourself, okay, the 5 W's, why, when, where. What are the other two? Who, and what. Then there was another H, how. Then there was another W again, what next. But these are yardsticks that make you stay in line and know that what you are dishing out is not just a fact, because a fact can be wrong. It's true. Now we have gone to an era where people propagate, people communicate for certain advantages, for good, for bad, for politics, for market, for trade, for dominance, for different things. This is now where the information now has gotten all of a sudden. We now have information. We have misinformation. We have disinformation. We have malinformation. I will go straight to Mr. Sam. Now, we are blessed to know that in your era in school, when you were in school, you've told us the date, the major players were the newspapers. And magazines. Let's just say newspaper, magazine, radio. And at that particular point in time, when there is a fake news or a false information, it was easy to detect. It's not as difficult as now. And you will ask, and you will get a refutal. How is it to get a refutal now?
Thank you very much indeed, Chuks. The computer age, or the ICT age, has transformed the way information is managed globally. Citizen diplomacy and citizen journalism has become the order of the days as a result of technology. So therefore, it might be very difficult to a very large extent, and you can distill what is authentic, what is truth. But then there are other software technology that has been put in place where you can back-check some of the information that are in the marketplace of idea. So to that extent, social media is very impactful, and I'm one of those who have been advocating that even attempts by the government to see how they can mash it down have always been that space must be open. But then those who are the consumers of ideas should be able to distill what is truth, what is basic information, what is disinformation, what is malinformation, and disinformation. These words are sometimes...
Okay. Before you now go to these words are sometimes, define them in your own way.
Information is just basic ideas that is shown out in the marketplace that are fact-driven, that you can, to a very large extent, back-check to be authentic. Then disinformation is where you use a basic level of information to direct people in a way that is inimical to society. So I would like to stop at that too. Maybe as we progress, I will talk about malinformation. So disinformation is essentially more of a propaganda tool to push people in a certain direction that is not really authentic, but you try to control the mindset
of a group
of people towards a particular direction. So those who are in developmental journalism, there's a word they call it, I think, meticide, where people pull you in a direction, and that's information that is not authentic become, to a very large extent, authentic, and use that information negatively. So, for example, you can try to provide some information about me that is not authentic, but when you push that agenda constantly and continually, to a very large extent, become truth, and that's what...
Can we say smokers are liable to die young is part of that information?
No, I don't think so. That is authentic because the Medical Association has said, based on medical and clinical research, that when you smoke...
Not just the coining, the selling of the product.
No, the selling of the products, I think...
with beautiful actors' faces.
Yeah, no, for marketing purpose, advertising, those who are in advertising, who write copies for advertising agencies.
Is there, can we catch
no,
this information somewhere
once
in that area?
there are advertising guidelines issued by APCON, once it's not offensive, it does...
Is what you perceive. I'm trying to build a base from what Mr. Sam said. Perception is propaganda, malinformation, misinformation can be created for you to perceive a certain thing that is false. Sometimes it's true, but many times it's false. So when you say perception has become reality, what people are, like if majority of people are saying certain things that are wrong about you, because it's gone out, people start to perceive it as reality, but in actual fact it's not reality. Let me now come to your question. Should it be regulated? I don't think it should.
It should not be regulated.
No, I don't.
There should be no censorship.
There shouldn't
so
be.
Somebody can just wake up tomorrow and go on his social media post and maybe conjure some pictures where your neighbor shot you, has refused to be schooled or has refused to open his eye and learn for himself. The perception he has, if I follow your perception, is that Africa is a jungle, is that Africa is not developed. Africa is a country.
Correct.
Africa is one people. Well, that could be true to a particular point. So now, can we say that this particular narrative that was started by a group of people for an interest and has continued even till now, can we say that this particular media houses have an agenda? And what can we on this side do?
All right, if you look at it from international communication, the West have always been a purveyor of a propaganda using the Eurocentric view of Africa that are trying to paint us as if we're not part of the human civilization. But we have moved beyond that point. So what is key, we have a responsibility on this part of the globe to see how those narrative, public propaganda that has been pushed by the West over the years to correct that anomalies. And before I add, I want to quickly support my colleague here that I don't share in the view that social media should be censored. There are existing laws that support infractions into if you publish something that is of a slander, libel.
Sorry,
no, I'm coming.
Can I say something?
Yes.
If we say social media shouldn't be censored,
Yes.
you know, there are people that are sensitive to certain posts.
Yes.
Good. And when you go to some social media apps, you see some gory posts.
Yes. The
Can't
point
have
is,
some
no,
form of
what do you
censorship
consume? The question is that, what do you consume?
Or what
for example,
the app themselves. What
because
they let
I
on
actually
their app.
even describe some of the applications and some of those platforms, social platforms. I just consider some of them as a weapon of mass destruction.
But
So,
yet
no, I
on those same-
understand.
on
So the
those same
point
apps,
is,
you have valid,
once there's an infraction, once there's an infraction,
okay,
you have press laws that are already in place. So if you're suing for slander, the laws are already there. So you need to activate those laws. If it's libel, you need to activate those laws. So the social media space is growing rapidly. There's a research center based in India called Visual Capitalists. By end of 2024, the number of people in that space is going to be over 1.something billion people that have access to social media across the globe. So the point is, once there's a visible infraction into the human dignity, then you can seek justice. But because the traditional media we're used to is based on the concept of self-censorship, based on the concept of social responsibility, where the media was supposed to pursue an agenda. but the agenda setting from the citizen perspective is not being regulated by maybe somebody who is an editor who can check on some of the things, who controls what goes out. So some of the things that comes in, maybe the way they report them may look offensive. But if you feel that a publication does not speak the truth about your person, then you can, and people have done those things. And you can see some level of restriction. And by even citizen diplomacy or journalism, you have a clause you're supposed to put in certain publications. If you think that they're offensive, okay, you warn people ahead of time.
You are looking at publications within your client. Publication originating from, be it apps within your client.
You know, whichever client they come from. There are even online laws that regulate certain things.
The app owners, are they following it? Are they obeying it?
No, so if you know that there's an infraction, there's equally a global online regulatory framework that control.
Still hold on to this thought, that online regulatory framework. Now let's come to you. This is very direct. As a consumer,
yes,
be it news, be it information, will you advise that everyone fact checks everything coming to you?
I do. That's one of the things I push for, because it's easy for people to be misled, especially in this social media era. So everything must be fact-checked, and it's easy to do.
Okay. Once upon a time, not long ago, there was a president of a country called United States of America, and he made this particular word very popular: fake news. We are going on a break. When we get back, we will ask him some questions on fake news. Don't go anywhere.
Lateef Jakande. Born Lateef Kayode Jakande in the Ekpetedo area of Lagos Island, Lagos State on July 1929. He studied at the Lagos Public School at Enowa, Lagos Island, then at Bonham Memorial Methodist School, Port Harcourt, King's College, enrolled at Ilesha Grammar School, where he edited a literary paper called The Quarterly Mirror. Jakande began a career in journalism in 1949 with a daily service and joined the Nigerian Tribune in 1953. The owner, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, appointed Jakande editor-in-chief of the Tribune in 1956. Jakande established John West Publications in 1975 after leaving Tribune and began to publish the Lagos News. He served as the first president of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN. Jakande ran for election as executive governor of Lagos State in 1979 on the Unity Party of Nigeria platform. His administration was effective and open and implemented the cardinal policies of his party. He introduced housing and educational programs targeting the poor, building new neighborhood primary and secondary schools, and providing free primary and secondary education. He gave poor people's children education, and many of them are now very prominent in the society today. Jakande established the Lagos State University and constructed over 30,000 housing units. After the military takeover in 1983, Jakande was charged, prosecuted, and convicted of treason and later pardoned. He served as Minister of Works under the Sani Abacha military regime. He died in Lagos on February 11, 2021. Lateef Jakande was the first civilian governor of Lagos State. Lateef Kayode Jakande, SOUQ Enlightenment.
Yes, well, welcome back. You need to be part of what happens when this camera is not on. This conversation continued, and we are still here. We're back. It's Chuks, John-Rogers Chuks, and it's SOUQ Pulse. You were going somewhere, and I had to stop you. So now let's continue on that particular journey. If you say we can go ahead and seek out wherever that is coming from and sue, did I hear you right?
Yes, of course you did.
Now, we have followed some of these social media apps for a while. And the major people that call them to order is either the Senate or the Assembly in the countries where they are domiciled. We have not been able to see that done here. The biggest we've seen done here is the past administration saying they're going to ban one of them, which we are not in support of. Now, we are asking this straight question. Information that is detrimental to, be it a group of people or a religion or a nation, how should we follow up on those kind of things and make sure that it does not come up again?
The point is, at what point, really, can you distill information, disinformation, and misinformation? There's a thin line.
Ethiopia.
There's a thin line between information itself. Even the traditional information, to what extent can you even authenticate? Because some of those informations are subjectively objective, depending on who is pushing out the information. Even the medium has certain attributes of pursuing an agenda, whether they are subtle agenda, whether they are deliberate agenda. So even in the marketplace of ideas, there are certain informations that are guided by the editorial slant of the medium that is pushing the agenda, whether they are traditional, whether they are social media. So the point I'm trying to underscore here is that, like he said earlier, perception is reality. So there are some things that you even consider as misinformation. Maybe the people are not even guided in terms of the languages that they use. But of the truth, some of those information, if you probe deeply, there may be some depth of truth in some of them. But like I said, it's only when it's deliberate.
Of truth in some of them, malinformation.
Yes, that's.
But they are using
that's malinformation.
Just a bit of
yes,
it
a bit of it. So
for their own agenda.
Yeah, the point I'm saying is that to what extent, even there are applications that are verifying those malinformation, disinformation, they only trace a particular item, maybe to about 3 points. And when they get to that level, and they, to a very large extent they can authenticate, they find it that it's a useful information, even where the basic truths and facts may not have been seen in those information. The point I'm trying to make it here is that, like Donald Trump will say, fake news. And with due respect to him, he's one of the purveyors of those kind of news that's almost disrupted the American system based on his own perception or losing an election. And that almost set the country on fire. So who is using information? Who is providing disinformation? Who is providing malinformation? And that's why I said these are very broad terminology in the social media space. But then, once there's an infraction, what is important is that citizens must activate the law that protect them.
Before the law is activated, just hold on. Before that particular law is activated, let's look at it from this way. If we wait to activate a law, we now have a court process. We have a legal system that has to take a time. Now, what happens between the period of activating this particular law and going to court and getting this, whereas this same activity is ongoing and causing harm? At what point in time can we say, what can we use in countering this information that is coming from this side?
You know, first of all, I would say, or I like to say, what's wrong is wrong. What's right is right.
what is wrong is wrong, what is right is right. But
Yes.
what is wrong, is it wrong to the end of who is pushing it?
Of course.
So how can we make that
Once
person
it's-
see that what is wrong is wrong?
Once
and
it's
stop
wrong,
fighting it?
it's wrong all through. That's why I said initially, misinformation has been put out. It's not fact. It's a lie. And it's tarnished, it's damaging to certain individuals. You go arrest the person and apply that law. It's very simple and basic. So when we're talking about creating more laws to fight certain, that's streamlining. So before you go to streamlining, it's like making a dress. You just make the full dress. Then you're not talking about whether the color of the thread you used, you know, all that stuff. That's making new laws. But for now, this law has been broken. Get this guy, charge him,
Who is
he's
getting
liable.
the guy? Who is charging
The
him?
law, we have laws in place.
The law is not a human being. Who is getting the guy?
The law-
What
Who is
an
charging him?
Chuks, let's get this fundamental right, and that's the point he's trying to speak to. The challenge here, particularly in our climate, is that people do not want to activate something.
That's from the receiver's end.
Yes.
Now from the side of the law, you get out there and do your job.
Can you always be very direct when you say from the side of the law?
Now,
who
for instance,
is the law?
we're live on air right now.
Yeah, so who is the
And
law?
you make a derogatory statement that is untrue about someone that is watching.
Be definite about someone.
Okay, let me say you make about maybe the MD, for instance,
Which of the MD?
the MD of any company, maybe the MD of SOUQ News. You say something derogatory and that is wrong, and he's watching.
Okay.
He just calls the authorities. This has been done. My rights have been violated. This is what this person said, recorded. They come here before the end of your show. They arrest you.
Okay, that is where you are coming from. Citizens should activate.
Yes, the point is that for you to clean out a system, there is a regulatory framework that is in place
Already.
already.
Okay.
So what do? You activate those framework
Okay.
to enable self-censorship, to enable good practice. So once there's an infraction and people are punished, then those organizations that are likely to pay damages, they will come out clean in terms of what they push out. So they will look at information and back-check some of the information that they want to put in the public space. Because once you do that and the law catch up with you, the kind of money you are going to pay out, we undermine the business completely.
Okay.
So
I want
we
to
should
believe you.
encourage activation
Okay.
of the law.
Citizens
Yes, but
activation.
I'm one of those who strongly believe that the social media space should not be regulated further. An attempt by the National Assembly, particularly in Nigeria,
Okay.
to represent that bill is against human rights, freedom of information, and you even have the Freedom of Information Act that equally speaks to some of these elements which people can activate. So the law is there, but then what we should be letting the public to know is that once people publish a basic information about you, you look for the IP address and some other things. Once you're able to backtrack all those information and you give your lawyer, even if you don't even have money, some lawyers will do that on pro bono cases.
Okay,
and
let's hold on to this. Our time is the time for the program, not just our time. The time for the program is not that much as we would like. Now let's look at this. We get to see from time to time, thanks to technology, thanks to advancement, and we have a whole lot of these apps. News agencies, media houses have spots, have handles on every of these apps. And yes, they are positive, yes, they are working. But also on these same apps, we get to see individuals or some other people, in quotes, face or faceless, pushing hate speech, pushing, not just pushing hate against, be it a group, be it a tribe, be it a religion. And we see these apps not being able to stop it. At this point in time, who are you going to hold responsible? The people or the app? Because it's continuous. So who are you going to hold responsible? The people or the app?
Actually, both parties are liable, first and foremost. But the quickest person to catch is the person that's purveying and pushing that false agenda. That's the first person you have access to on the immediate. Then
A faceless entity?
No, it's not faceless. He has, like you talked about, he's posting something.
Yes, he's posting something.
He has a handle.
Yes, he could have a handle and still be faceless.
That's why we have Interpol. If it's not in your country, that's what their job is. But many of the authorities are in cohorts with these people that are pushing out this false information.
Hope you know, now this is the side part of it, sir. Hope you know that a lot of this information, when it comes to hate, a lot of this harmful product, they drive traffic.
Sure.
And the app feeds
they
on
want it.
traffic. So now, at this point, who are we looking to hold responsible?
That's what I'm saying. Both parties. First of all, an individual with an account, a profile on that app is posting that hate speech or that false information. That's the first person you get. Then it's like when you have a lawsuit, you have different plaintiffs and this person, all that. So the first person is the person that posts. The second person is the app that is allowing that post happen.
Okay. You want to add something to this?
Yeah, I think in my view, what we need to focus our conversation on is people should find a way to activate the law. And once you're able to activate the law, then people become more disciplined. Unlike the traditional media, where
you can walk into the office.
The basic tenet of journalism is self-censorship based on the concept of social responsibility of pushing an agenda legitimately based on truth and fact. But now that this ecosystem is so fluid, what you can do once there are infraction into hate speech, infraction into trying to push an agenda, they're trying to impugn on the reputation of individuals and organizations. Once you're able to activate that concept of social responsibility will play out in the social media space. And there are countries where people have been brought to book based on advancement of hate speech. Even the US in particular, the issues that happened post-Trump election, where the citizens were mobilized to attack the Capitol Hill, the law was saying that this is an incitement of the people against the state. And I think that matter is still ongoing and it's almost coming to its fruition in terms of the legality, otherwise, of that
particular issue.
issue.
Now let's try and push a bit faster. Now this is a straightforward question. Now, is all fair in war when it comes to information? Good, bad, is all fair in war?
You would have to break that down.
Now, let's say Russia-Ukraine. It's been on for going to 3 years now.
3 years now.
Good. Is all fair in war? Can Russia publish whatever they want, or can Ukraine publish whatever they want because they're fighting? Let's break it down to individuals too.
Now, when you say whatever they want, as long as it's fact, there's nothing wrong with that.
But can it be fact? Can it be fact?
No, that's what I'm saying. It can be checked. That's why we have bodies that these different countries belong to. Those are the people that would check them. Once it's facts, okay, maybe Russia has bombarded.
We've seen publications right from day one of the first.
Yes.
The whole lot of them, over time, we've gone to see that these are not true. From both sides. So is it something we can say,
That's where the class captain comes in.
Who happens to be the class captain?
United Nations.
Are they actually the class captain?
That's where they come in, because they all belong.
Chuck, in my view, international propaganda, international conspiracy is an element in warfare. Whatever people push when they are in war is to see how they can shape public perception towards whether they are winning or not winning the war. So that has been an age-long issues when it comes to warfare. What is true? What is factual from those who push information from the battlefield? So in terms of encoding of some of the practice within warfare, since the Middle Age, there's a high dose of propaganda. So when it comes to warfare, what facts can you check? It's a very difficult tail line.
I'd like to come in there, sorry, not meaning to cut you short. There are ways that those propagandas can be checked as well. This is where also we come in as journalists, as media people. We have people that go actually into those countries and they're behind the enemy lines. Some are across, maybe let's say for instance, take Russia for instance, they're on the Russian side. They're actually capturing what's going on. So if they have said, for instance, Ukraine has bombed 400 Russian women and children, and it's not true, in the city of Lagos, for instance, journalists will go there to verify. That's our work. You go there, you are on the ground, you are in the city of Lagos in Russia.
For the media house.
Yes, they're like,
do good.
Okay. Yeah, because also there are middlemen that are also trying to shed light to truth. Okay. So they get there, they're like, okay, 400 people didn't die here. This story is not true. We're reporting live from Lagos where they said this happened. We're here to tell you that it's not true and all that stuff. So that's also how we can put a stop to it. It's an age-long thing and it's been such a wrong thing for a long time because you sway the public perception if you have more funds to twist and let your propaganda suit you.
Okay. Yeah, the point I'm trying to make just before you move on is that even in the United States of America, they have what you call embedment in warfare, where you tie journalists even to the war front, where in the battle of faith, the information that you even get, even from that into the public space, has been questioned, even by a researcher, where you have a practical demonstration that journalists are even tied to soldiers at the field. The subject of propaganda, the point I'm making is that propaganda on both sides of the divide has always been an instrument of warfare. That's the point.
Part of the bullet that has been fired.
Will I say part of the bullet? Not necessarily so. People try to shape the opinion. Initially, when the Russia-Ukraine war started, I think their military calculation was that Ukraine was going to be a walkover within some few months.
Correct.
We are 2 years, almost 2 months into that war. And the propaganda machineries on both parts, to a very large extent, has not been able to sustain the international perception of the war. Even the West, that is in full support of Ukraine, has not been able to do some of those promises. So what they still do, essentially, is a propaganda machinery that shape public opinion. Okay. And this is deliberate in warfare.
Okay. Now, let's bring this home. We've gone nuclear, we've gone global, we've gone to Ukraine, we've gone to Russia, and let's get back. Now, how can we start getting not just journalists, because right now, once you have a smartphone and you have data and you have be it free Wi-Fi, you are automatically a reporter. You break news. Sometimes you don't just break news, you unbreak the news. And we've seen this cause issues. Things that should not be reported per time or unseen, we've seen it happen. We see accidents, and instead of you dropping your phone or help, you see people sitting and they're on their phone. A lot happening live in Alagbado, trailer crush, but you're not helping the person on the ground. How can we start making our people, Africans, take responsibility in what they are reporting, in information they are sharing, they are pushing?
I think in my view, citizen journalism has come to stay in spite of this negative impression from society. It has opened up the media space to the extent that there's no place to hide. Why I don't support disinformation. That citizen diplomacy has made news gathering, information management to become easier, and particularly those in leadership positions in Nigeria in particular have been afraid of the social media, particularly the way they can open up certain elements they used to have control over. I just heard recently there will be a punishment for people who have to put things in the social media space. To what extent can they control that? You can only control something that is highly confidential.
Okay, but let's talk about responsibility itself.
So that's the point I've been making since we started this show, that yes, there are issues of disinformation, misinformation, malinformation, but then we have it as a responsibility to find a way to activate the existing law so that people become more censored on their own and they don't push a negative agenda in terms of hate speech. But on the other hand, for the government to want to put other new legislation to control the social media, I think the civil society will come very hard on them, and I don't think that agenda should be pursued by government. Those are my personal view.
Okay, your thoughts, your last thoughts.
What I was going to say to that is, I'm not too mad at the public for posting things real time. You gave an example, like a trailer's crushing someone, and instead of them to help, they're recording. Now, if they didn't record that, how would you know that there was a malfunction trailer that didn't need to be on the road? Because like we said, all's fair in love and war, right? And also, if they had left that and helped the person up, they probably could have saved the life, gone to the hospital. But we wouldn't have gotten the feedback that there was a bad truck.
Which one is more important?
Now, that's relative.
If you see my landlord slapping me, please help me first. Don't record the slap.
How will we be able to tell that landlord slapped their tenants and defend it without proof?
Okay.
That's something for another day.
We want to say thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sam. It's always
pleasure.
a pleasure having you here. Thank you very much, Ikenna.
Thank you, Chuks.
I like your perspective in things, but we'll argue again later. I want to say thank you very much for being on the other side and being part of SOUQ Pulse. It's always an exciting time. Like I said, we still have 1 hour. We'll see what we'll do in the coming months and see what we can do to expand the show. Remember, join us on all our social media platforms. Join the conversation. Share this. Let's go to those particular apps and continue this conversation. It's always nice. We say thank you very much for being there this beautiful Monday of the first complete week in March. Have yourself a beautiful evening. My name is Chuks, John-Rogers Chuks. Bye.